the things that I've seen Jack do on the ice, I saw him one time kind of go between a dude's leg and snipe a shot. I don't know how he got it in there.
Now here it comes back in the other direction. Eichel over the line. Oh, brother! You have just seen the last edition of Sick Mix Jack Eichel.
It just doesn't make sense to me how that these guys can go out there and do what they do, and obviously Jack's one of the best in the league.
Thank you. For me, I'm someone who's an emotional player. I see a lot of that in him. He's somebody who will do anything to win.
And it is a pass coming up here. John Brown going to throw it back to Josh Allen. He's open, makes the catch, and he dives into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown, John Brown! Unbelievable!
You think about the toughness, and I saw a video last night. Jack was throwing blows with the dude.
Here's Eichel behind the net battling for it. Power play for Minnesota comes to an end. Skinner is back over. The gloves are dropped, and is that Eichel? Jack Eichel is in a fight down in the Minnesota zone with Eriksson Ek. Eichel throws the first couple with Eriksson Ek spotted off, and this place will go bananas down.
That's not typically what someone in Jack's position would do, but he's willing to do that because he loves his teammates so much.
Just how athletic he is, I think, for someone of his size to be able to, first of all, throw the ball like he does, and the ability to extend plays with your athleticism, it makes it a lot of fun to watch. I'm super excited to watch you this year. I think it's going to be a huge year.
It's a city that's starving for success. They want it so bad, and they want it so bad for us. And at the same time, we want it so bad for them. When we say we want to win, it's not just for our own legacy, but it's for the city of Buffalo.
Welcome to Captain Circle, presented by Labatt Blue Light, the first in a series of special events we are hosting this summer to celebrate leadership and foster discussions between captains of the Bills and Sabres. With Matty Glab, I'm Brian Duff. Jack Eichel was selected second overall in 2015's NHL draft. In each of his 5 NHL seasons so far, his points per game total has risen. And of course, Jack was named captain of the Buffalo Sabres in October of 2018.
And Josh Allen was drafted by the Buffalo Bills 7th overall in the 2018 draft. In just 2 seasons, Josh has tied or broken more than a couple franchise records, including most consecutive touchdowns in a game with 21 straight games scoring. Josh was elected captain for the first time last season. Let's talk about the two of you. There's plenty of differences when it comes to hockey and football, but also some similarities, and we'll get into both of those. But first, let's rewind the clock. Do you guys remember the first time you two met in person and what that interaction was like?
Yeah, we met after a Sabres game one time. It was very briefly, but it was quick. There was a time, though, where we were both getting a haircut, and we got to sit like in the next chairs next to each other. We were both getting faded up, but we got to sit down and actually talk to him, and that's kind of like where our bond actually kind of came from. I don't know if Jack remembers that or not, but it was pretty cool.
No, I remember you coming in the locker room after a game. We had a brief conversation. I think you had a few people with you. I think we spoke briefly, and then obviously we bumped into each other at the barber, and then I think we've just kind of tried to stay in touch there. And obviously, as a fan of him as an athlete, and a fan of the Bills, I try and send him messages after games, and I think we've tried to stay in touch a little bit. And I've been over their facility a few times and seen him there, and obviously he's been to a few games, so I've seen him pretty frequently at our games. So it's nice. It's really cool to have a relationship with him, being able to know him. Obviously, the NFL is such a big machine, and it's really cool to know a player of his caliber and be able to have a personal relationship with him.
Yeah, let's get into that personal relationship. So, Jack, you come to Buffalo first, and then Josh comes to Buffalo being drafted by the Bills. You guys are both very similar in age, 23, 24. So how much interaction have you had in the last few years? And I guess how has that grown into having a better friendship and relationship?
Yeah, Jack kind of touched on it there, just kind of staying in touch, via texting and just letting him know after a big game, just, I watched and I'm here for you, like, let's go. And he'd do the same thing, as they reciprocated. But I actually got to bring Super K to a game, and he got to ride the Zamboni. And then afterwards, I got to take him into the locker room. And after a tiresome, gruesome game, Jack still came out and talked to my buddy, and he gave him a never ever give up bracelet. So I texted Jack right after that. Yeah, texted him right after. Thank you so much. So I mean, it means so much to these guys, and for like he said, to be one of the premier guys in the NHL, but to have time after a game where he exuberated so much energy to come out and take the time and talk to a child who loved that experience, and he just made that kid's night, and made a trip to Buffalo, to be honest. And so again, thank you for doing that, Jack. I mean, that's kind of like that where that relationship comes in, where we're able to do that.
Who was the first to pick up a tab for one another?
Ooh.
I still owe him a tab. Yeah, he picked up he picked up a dinner for me. I bumped into him. He was with his family at Hutch's night, and I think I was going in there with maybe a couple buddies before a game, and I didn't have to pay for any dinner. I appreciate that. Thank you. I owe you one.
Well, this is our only episode with current captains. And of course, as Maddie mentioned, I mean, we have two who are both from, the birth year 1996, high-profile draft picks, captains at young ages. And it leads us into the gear up to handle such huge responsibility. And when you're drafted so high and you're seen as the face of the franchise, and you have the pressure that comes with those things, along with trying to earn the respect and trust of your teammates, what, Jack, we'll start with you, is that life like?
I think environmentally, the transition from college to professional is a pretty big one. I think when you're in college, everyone's in a similar situation where, for the most part, everyone's pretty close in age, and they all have the same, sort of situation. They're in school. I mean, you come to the professional level, and you get some guys that are in the mid 30s. You get, some guys who are teenagers, and that's a big burden in terms of trying to deal with that throughout the room. So you have guys that go home to 4 kids at their house, and you have guys that go home and they're living by themselves, and life's a lot more simple. So I think that for one, you need to kind of get a grasp on that, and learn that there's a lot of people in different situations. There's people in different years of their contract and different parts of their career, and I think it's a lot about learning about the guys in your room, and for one, what makes them what makes them tick, what makes their personality the way it is. And for me, there's a lot of growing up to do in the first few years. I think you start to learn about how things are done on a day-to-day basis at the professional level, and the right things to do, the wrong things to do, how to handle yourself. And I think you just try and as you get older, you try and become a leader for the younger guys. And for me, I try and lead everyone in the room as much as I can, whether that's by work ethic or my habits. You try and do the right things. I think guys follow. So it's by no means a finished product. I think you learn to become a better leader every day. I think that there's always experiences that are gonna transition you to the place you want to be. So you try and use your mentors. Luckily we have some great older guys in our locker room that I'm able to lean on. I've had some great leaders in my day here, so I'm just trying to lean on them and learn as much as I can.
Yeah, kind of Jack alluded to it. In college, everybody's kind of in the same cycle of their life, and you're able to talk to a guy right after practice and be like, "Hey, let's go to Applebee's, or let's go get something to eat." And when you get to the league, everybody's got their respective families, and they got kids at the house, and then they got marketing deals that they got to go to, and then they got interviews and this and that. So the fact that it's just there's a lot more going on in the league, and Jack kind of alluded to it. And being the leader, being a captain, I think Jack is kind of like myself in the fact that we're not going to say a whole lot, but we're going to show a whole lot. Leading by example via our work ethic, how we communicate with each other, how we talk to our coaches, how we treat other people in the facility. And I think that goes a long way. And I think people kind of see that and they want to follow suit. So, but like you said, we got guys in our locker room that I continue to lean on, guys like Lee Smith, guys like John Feliciano, guys that have been in the league for a long time, that I can ask questions and they can give me real, raw, honest answers. And I think that's kind of what it comes down to, is being a captain. It's not the best player in the room, but it's the guy that can communicate the best and the guy that can pull people together and try to push everybody in one similar direction.
And it's not like going into the pros, it was the first time you were both looked at as leaders or captains. You both playing positions where you're originally looked at that way. You've both had a lot of success in college, from Wyoming to Boston, to Jack, you helping the U.S. win gold in the World Under-18 Championship. When was that first time when you were each looked at as a leader or a captain? Can you remember that first team you were on? And Jack, you can start.
My first captaincy was, I was the captain of my junior team my freshman year of high school. I was one of the younger guys in the team, similar to the situation here. I had been there for a year. I had earned some accolades. I had committed to BU at that point, and I think I was pretty well respected in the locker room, and I was awarded the captaincy. And I think looking back on it back then, I don't know how much not how much weight it carried in a junior team with barely post college and mostly high school guys, but we had a good team, we had a good year, and then obviously transitioning over to the national team. I think it means a lot more when you're when you're wearing your country's sweater and you're awarded a letter on that team. So I was lucky enough to to be one of the leaders in that group, and that's tough. I mean, in a situation like that where you bring in guys from all over the country with different backgrounds, but everyone's trying to compete for the same thing. I think that there's a lot of inner competition in the locker room to be the leader of the group, and you need to find a way to try and connect with everyone. And that was an interesting situation. I think just with that whole 2-year program, I think I learned a lot about leadership. Getting along with teammates, putting differences aside, battling for a greater goal. And it's a tremendous program for doing that. And then obviously at BU, as one of the younger guys, I wasn't, rewarded a sweater or rewarded a letter on my sweater, but still consider myself a leader in the group and the way I performed on the ice.
Yeah, I think myself too, going back to high school. I think we all know that kind of quarterback, the position comes with the leadership role aspect. It just comes with it. So freshman year, and I didn't really understand this until I got to college, that people look at your body language. They look at your facial expressions. They look at how you talk to people. And I was so competitive at a young age, and I wanted to win so bad that when things wouldn't go my way, you can see it. I wear my emotion on my sleeve. And as I got older and progressed, and when I got into college, and I kind of saw what being a true leader is, and in a college locker room, it's a very diverse place. There's people from all different walks of life, different parts of the country, different ages, people that have experienced just different things that I never knew that kids my age would experience. And to listen to these guys and to learn and to want to be a part of their lives, it helped me in turn become a better leader, because you learn how to talk to people different ways. Some guys need the hard loving. Some guys want to be, took off to the side and just kind of be told in a calmer manner. So I think that's one major aspect that people kind of look at or overlook what being a leader is. It's just how to talk to people different ways, because not every person is the same, and you can find ways to get certain things out of different people. And that in turn comes with time and the whole process of kind of learning yourself first. And it's something that you can start developing at a very young age that's going to help you down the long run.
Jack, I'm envisioning when you were like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that all those minor hockey jerseys had you wearing a C. No?
No, I mean, when you're that young, you really know what comes with being a captain. So I was lucky enough to have good coaches that didn't put C's on 6- and 7-year-olds' jerseys.
Do you think any of them did try to teach you and others, though, at that age about leadership?
I mean, I think you're always you're always being taught about leadership. I think, through, coaches, through parents. I think that they're always trying to teach you the right lessons about, how to be a leader. Forget athletics and being a leader in a locker. I'm just trying to be a leader in life and do the right things on a day-to-day basis. I think that I was fortunate. Both my parents are very good people, and they taught me a lot of really good life lessons, and they instilled a lot of good habits in me in terms of, being a good person and how to handle yourself every day. So I think that you learn things throughout your life, and then as you get older, obviously you try and hone in on how to be a good leader in a locker room and how to guide a team to success.
When you're selecting captains, I think this is something that's very different from the NFL to the NHL. I mean, some NFL teams literally have different captains for every single game. Some are elected by coaches, some are elected by players. When it comes to determining who is captain, how does that work for each team? Josh, you can start with this one.
Yeah, it's all player voted and player based, and I think that's really how it should be. I think that when players are elected by the coach or somebody else, where it's just kind of a singular person making the decision, I think kind of loses the credibility and the validity of being a captain. So I think how we do it in Buffalo is the best, and being big-time player run league, that to be the captain in the locker room, your peers should have that trust in you to vote for you to be their captain, and the guy that they kind of follow their lead.
And Jack, from the hockey standpoint, it seems like on the outside, the captaincy is far more pronounced in hockey compared to football. Take us through what it's like when you actually, get anointed the captain at the NHL level, and what comes with that.
Yeah, it was, I believe it was my, I want to say second or third year in the league when I was awarded an A, and obviously that was great. It was whatever year Gio retired, so it was my third year in the league, and obviously we lost our captain. We weren't appointing a captain for that season, so we had 4 assistant captains at the time. I think the different thing is with the hockey room, there's only so many guys in the locker room. I think you can get a pretty good grasp on who the leaders are throughout training camp, throughout the preseason, and the beginning of the year. So we had our 4 assistant captains, and then the following year, after training camp, just before the start of the season, I was called into the rink. Later at night, and I went in and met Phil Housley, our head coach at the time, our GM at the time, Jason, and Mr. Pagula, and that was when they awarded me the captaincy. It was a tremendous honor. You never think about as a kid growing up, and being the captain of a sports franchise. It's an extremely humbling moment, and for an organization to put the faith in you to be their leader, it's it says a lot. So it's just quite an honor, and I'm happy to be the captain.
A current teammate of yours says your bluntness, in a great way, it's one of the things he admires most about you being a captain, and not to mention that you have your heart on your sleeve at all times. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's a good way to put it. I think that at times I can probably be a little too blunt with guys, and but that's just my personality, and that's what makes me, the leader I am. I think, everyone's a different leader in their own sense. And for me, I think I definitely at times demand a lot out of people and demand a lot out of guys. And, if I don't think I'm getting enough out of you, I can definitely, let you know that. I think it's just an honesty thing. As you said earlier, I'm a guy who's, very emotional. Wear my heart on my sleeve, always have as a player, always have as a person. So, I'm always going to tell it how it is, and if you don't like that, that's fine. But obviously, I'm going to expect a lot out of you.
Hey, Jack, what does the A stand for?
That's just assistant captain. So obviously, you have your C for captain, and then assistant captain A.
Gotcha.
So we have 2.
Assistant to the captain or assistant captain?
Yeah, assistant captain, assistant to the captain, same thing.
The office reference. I'm sorry, guys. I just
No, it's good. It's actually really good because, see, Josh, they actually have a role on the ice. So when the captain is not on the ice, the alternate or assistant, if you will, can go to the officials and discuss a situation regarding penalties, things like that. But it takes us to your room, which is so much bigger. I mean, you've got so many more players. And I'm wondering, where you lie when it comes to bluntness, like how blunt are you? But also, how important is it to have captains that can, basically cover all the ways of approaching all the people in the room?
Yeah. There is a lot to be said about being blunt towards guys. And I think there's, the best captains are very stern and they talk and they say how they feel. But being with so many different guys and so many different personalities, you have to kind of pick and choose who you be blunt to. Like, I'm not going to be blunt to my offensive linemen and get them mad and them accidentally slip on one of the blocks. So I talk to them a little differently than I would a receiver or somebody on the defensive side of the ball. So it's all about kind of knowing your personnel, and that in turn kind of helps you become a better leader. And just like in the locker room, I'm a big advocate of hanging with the guys off the field. And I've talked to my college team and the college quarterbacks a few different times, and the more time you can spend with your guys, the better it's going to be, because that camaraderie that you have off the field is going to carry over to the field. You're going to be able to trust those guys that much more. And, it being with 10 other guys on the field, you got to trust everybody to do their job, and a team is only as good as all 11 guys on the field. So it's definitely a little different, having 53 plus guys in the locker room and trying to find everybody's personality and understanding where they come from and how do they talk to it. But that's what makes, the NFL such a great league. It's guys from all walks of life, and it really opens your eyes to different things in the world. And it's a very fun place to be. And, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Having those relationships with your teammates and having that trust is so important to being a leader and being looked at as a captain on your team. And talking with each other is another big part of it, about stuff on the field or off the field. But you probably look to on the field moments when it comes to an I'm the captain now moment. Josh, you've been a captain for a year. Jack, you have more than 1 year under your belt of being a captain. Is there a moment for either of you that you look to on the field where you're like, yep, that's my moment? Jack, do you have one?
I mean, usually it's, Duffer kind of touched on it. I mean, in terms of on ice, on ice, it's more or less just being able to communicate a little bit easier with the referees and being able to relay the coach's message if need be. I think, obviously you're the leader, you represent your team on the ice when you have the C on your chest. So every time you step on there, it's, you're not only representing, your team and your organization, but the city. So there obviously, there's a lot of weight that comes with that. But, there's so many leaders in the room. I think it makes the job easy if I'm not having a great night, if I'm a little frustrated, whatnot. I think our assistant captains, some of the older guys, Kyle Okpoza, I mean, these are guys that are stepping up, and maybe they're able to communicate with the ref if I'm not seeing eye to eye with the guy at the time, and whatever, handle some duties. There's a lot that comes with it, but it's a team effort.
Josh, do you have a moment that you look back to? I mean, I think about that Dallas game, that 4th and 1, where you go like this, and the whole team goes wild because you just converted, and that was such a great game for you in your second year in the NFL, being a captain on the Bills. Do you have one moment or a game that you look to that you're like, yep, I'm gonna brush off my shoulder on this one?
Yeah, I think even going back to my first year, that Minnesota game, when I did the hurdle. And I think that it just showed to guys, like, this guy's going to put his body on the line and he's going to do anything that he can to win a game. So I really think that's kind of the moment where guys are like looking at me like, all right, let's ride with this guy. So again, I try to lead by example, and I don't like to say a whole lot, but I'm going to show my guys how badly I want to win and how much I'm willing to sacrifice to obtain that win.
Jack won't say it because he's too modest, but the Hockey Fights Cancer Night game this year when he scored all 4 goals to defeat the Ottawa Senators might have been one of those moments that you're getting at, Maddie, and thankfully for that, because it was a special night all around because of the heroic efforts. And Jack, let's be honest. I mean, the captaincy allows you to talk to the linesmen a little bit too when they're trying to toss you out of faceoffs repeatedly, right?
Yeah, I got to work on that. I'm trying to work on it this year, get it a little bit better with them. Like I said, I think sometimes the emotions get going on me during the game, and I'll take them out on the guys with the striped jerseys on.
Yeah, don't change. Everybody loves that, and I think that's what your teammates and coaches love about it too. But, you know, I think Maddie was also gravitating towards this too. When you put that letter on, whether it's visible to everybody or whether it's behind the dressing room doors and you're a captain, it comes with responsibility off the field too, and community is in many different ways. How has that impacted you, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different, you know, stepping into a franchise and it being one of 2 in the city. We're just very recognizable. You know, it's hard to kind of miss Jack and myself, and me being 6'5", it makes it that much harder. But no, it's the whole community kind of looks up to the Bills, and I feel like and the Sabres, but like once the teams are rolling, I think people's moods are a lot better. And I think that if it's a tough game or tough loss, people in the community feel that. And they not only look up to Jack and myself, but everybody on the Sabres and the Bills to, you know, be a light in the community and to do some community outreach. And, you know, that's why I try to do so much within the community, just to show that I appreciate where I'm playing. I appreciate the fans and how much they support both of our teams, because we know that, you know, Buffalo's not the most lavish city in the world, and but they're at the Bills and they're at the Sabres games. They're supporting us, so it's very important that we kind of return the favor and support them in the community. And as far as, you know, showing up at like I showed up at a couple local high school games last year, and going to Oshai Children's Hospital and seeing the children there and making sure that the families know that they're not in the fight alone, that, you know, there's people that care about them, that are there for them. And I think that there's a lot of guys on our teams that show that aspect of it too, that are willing to go and not only spend money, but spend time around the community showing how much that they care.
Jack, you embraced it from the moment you were drafted. Remember the media whirlwind, the way you worked yourself around the community back in, I guess, June, early July of 2015?
Yeah. Obviously, that was a nice introduction to the community, the city, getting to meet some people and some organizations outside of you know, the arena. And yeah, I mean, a lot of, like you said, it's about building relationships away from the arena with you know, with things that you believe in and organizations and people that you want to help. And for me, it's been a lot about, you know, my relationship with the Roswell Park Cancer Institution, and just trying to get as much involved as I can there, and just trying to make an impact on people's lives. I think, you know, this job that we do as athletes, it gives us a phenomenal platform to impact people in a special way by doing so little, just spending some of our time and just, you know, giving them a little bit of our personality away from the arena. And I think it goes a long way with people. So I'm always, you know, I'm always super, you know, proactive on trying to, you know, find ways to, you know, reach the community in ways away from hockey. And it's a tremendous community for accepting you and you know, making you feel welcome. And you know, I think that's one of the most rewarding parts of our job.
Well, because of traits like that both of you possess, captains are, you know, rightfully cheered in the community for their work on and off the field and the ice. And since we have Labatt Blue Light here, Maddie and I thought we'd take the opportunity to do a little toast to the captains. And we are wondering who you guys would like to raise a glass to, right, Maddie?
Yeah, I mean, do you guys have somebody in your life that...
No beer for me?
Yeah, come on, Jack.
I got one.
You can take mine.
Might have one in the fridge.
Do each of you, though, have somebody in your life, whether it's a parent, whether it's a coach, whether it's been a former teammate, that has really influenced the leadership that you've been able to put forth in the last few years as you've entered the professional ranks?
Yeah, I'd say my father. I remember as early as the age of 6 or 7, driving to school, and he'd be driving, I'd be in the passenger seat, and he'd be interviewing me like I just won the Super Bowl. So he played a huge part in my progress as a player, and he was willing to do anything and everything to make sure that I had all the tools necessary to become a good athlete. Him and my mom, they bussed me and my siblings around and made sure that we were in every sport possible. And my dad had a saying, "Idle hands make for the devil's work," so we were always busy.
Jack, what about you? Who's that person in your life that you look to as somebody who's had a lot of influence on your leadership?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I'd say my dad, obviously one of my biggest mentors, influences in hockey, if not the biggest. I think just his ability to know me, know my personality, and the way that I think. He's been able to help me in so many ways. Try and step out of what I'm used to and try and get myself a little bit uncomfortable to become better at different things, including leadership. So I'd have to give him the credit on that one.
Well, let's cheers to the captains then.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I mean, it's a joy when your dad's around, whether it's on the road or at the home rink in Buffalo, because we're always learning something about your game. He never misses any little bit of it, Jack. It's great.
No.
Hey, your coach has got a tremendous amount of respect for you too, and just can't say enough about the big heart that you possess and things like that. I'm sure it's great to have those types of influences. You've really embraced Ralph Kruger in that regard. Josh, what's it like from your standpoint, your relationship with a coach, and how important that is at a time like this?
It's big time. As captains, we are extensions of our coaches, so making sure that we're on the same page, that I'm on the same page with Coach McDermott, and relaying the message that he wants to portray to the team to everybody else. Because, with a locker room our size, he needs help. He needs our help. So we have to be there for him. He's there for us. The way he talks to our guys is amazing. He's obviously very Christian, a very humble guy, but he's also very stern, and he demands the best out of his players. And that's one thing I really respect from Coach McDermott. And out of so many, but our relationship is growing and evolving, and it's been fantastic, but it's only going to continue to get better. So I'm excited to hopefully get back here before we know it and start playing some football.
You both have had some really important mentors in your life from what you just said, and a lot of people pouring into you, from family to friends to teammates to coaches. But even with all of that help, I mean, none of us were prepared for how life would change in the last 6 months with COVID-19. Sabres season stopped early. Football, you guys are still on track, but really you can't tell what's going to happen in the future. So with all of this, how have each of your leadership styles continually evolved in a world that changes at rapid pace?
A lot of FaceTime.
More trying to learn more. I think educate myself. I think I'm trying to do a lot of reading. Other than that, just try and stay pretty sane right now. It's obviously a long off season for us. It's a lot of unknowns heading forward. So try to enjoy my time. I think spend less time worrying about what other people have to say about different situations, and kind of just spend time with the ones that I love and the ones that know me.
Yep, same here. I got to spend a lot of time with my family. But as far as keeping up with teammates, a lot of FaceTime, a lot of video games, making sure that we're kind of staying in communication that way. It's been different. It's been a learning curve, but again, I think especially in the NFL season, whoever kind of handles this situation is going to be the best in the league. As far as handling the adversity that comes along with it, and there's going to be adversity within the season. So any opportunity that you can take and learn from it, we're gonna try to use that. And I think that's what we're doing.
Is social media a form of adversity for either of you, or is it something that you enjoy? And does it become even more of a challenge? Is it more of a challenge when you're playing or when you're not playing?
I think it's always a challenge. I think
for every positive thing you read on social media, you probably read 4 or 5 negative things. So I've actually been off social media for about a month and a half now. Just made a decision. I didn't think that that there was a lot of good out of reading, people's minds every day, and I've been pretty happy with where I'm at right now mentally. That's all I got.
Yeah, it's both. There's push and pull on both sides, and at the same time that it's tough because there's all that negativity out there, but it's also a great platform for athletes to use their platform for the better and to bring light to situations. But again, I'm not too active on it as well. I don't post too much, and I like to follow and see what my friends are up to, and that's kind of like all I really care about is just friends and family on there and seeing how they're doing. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of good that comes out of it other than being able to use your platform to, one, inspire, and 2, to bring light to certain situations and help out causes.
Maddie, what do you think? Time for a Labatt Blue Lightning round?
Let's do it. Let's wrap this thing up with some lightning speed questions.
Yeah, rapid fire on a number of topics. And the tougher, more difficult sport to play, hockey or football?
Hockey.
I would say football. Physically, it's pretty demanding.
Physically, but you put hockey or you put ice skates on any one of our players, and there's no way we can do it. No way.
Except Trey White.
No goals allowed.
What's the toughest sport to build lasting success and win championships?
I might go football there.
I would say hockey, just from the I think lasting success is one thing and championships is another. I think with the turnaround of players leaving and free agents and trades and the parity of hockey, rarely do you see teams have success for an extended period of time. But I think in any sport, no matter what, I think there's always going to be a turnover of teams that have success for a long period and then need to kind of start over again.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think with any sport, it's very tough to find that sustaining success, and I think there's been one team to kind of be the light of it is the New England Patriots. They've been a long time team of success, and they've been able to win a bunch of Super Bowls. So that's something that I think every team strives for, and that's what we're striving for too.
Josh, if you could have, you start, and then Jack. If you could have any other player from any period of time on your current team, who would you pick and why?
Randy Moss.
That almost goes without saying, right? Yeah.
Let's go, baby. That'd be fun.
For me, probably Sidney Crosby.
Wow.
Yeah.
Over the greatest, the great one.
I guess in my top 5 players of all time, and obviously a big fan of him and a huge fan of him as a person too. So I'd probably throw him in there.
All right, here's a tough one. Would you trade modern technology like your phone and social media to have the greater privacy in public athletes had 30 years ago?
In a heartbeat.
1,000%. I always say I wish I grew up in the 70s or 80s.
What position would you play if you were on the Bills instead of the Sabres?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Nickel corner. No, I don't know. Like it. I don't know. I feel like I have I'd have to put some weight on. Maybe be like probably not big enough to be a tight end. So I'd probably have to be on the defense somewhere.
Yeah, you kind of got the Cole Beasley flow going on though. The hair. Then you can be slot.
I don't know if I'm quick enough to be a wideout in that league.
What about you, Josh?
I'm a goalie. I'm the big dude. I'm not going to move much, but I'll try to block a bunch of stuff.
What would you have? A better offense or a better defense?
Well, ours go hand in hand, right? Hockey's offense and defense goes hand in hand because they're on the ice at the same time. So that's a tough one. I think a good offense leads to a easier time playing defense. So, but a good defense leads to more offense.
Yeah, sometimes our best defense is our offense. So I'm not answering that question with one or the other.
Josh, you know the tradition in hockey. If you win the championship, you get the players and all the staff, they get a day with the cup and they can take it wherever. If that was the case with the Lombardi Trophy, what would you do with it?
A Labatt Blue Luge from it. 100%. Hold it up and yeah, it'd be awesome.
All right, what about your biggest misconception of Buffalo before you both moved here?
For some reason, I always thought it was like super cold. It's the same climate that I grew up in, so it's no different. It's the exact same climate. I don't know why people think it's so much colder than it is in New England.
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing. I was in Laramie where I'd wake up and it'd be 0 to -10 degrees every morning, and I just haven't experienced that yet in Buffalo. So I know it's been a mild winter the last couple winters, but it hasn't been that bad.
Which coast is more likely to produce a better captain, the East Coast or the West Coast?
East Coast. I'm rolling with Jack here.
He's generous, so I'm going to go with the same.
And can each of you name the other's hometown?
No, I can't. I know he's a Boston boy.
He's
I'll give you a hint. Think
like,
of a whiskey.
I don't know. I know it's California.
Syrupy whiskey.
I know it's California, and
Cinnamony whiskey.
Syrupy cinnamony whiskey.
Where you are?
Yeah.
I don't know. You gotta help me.
Fireball.
That's the name of your town, Fireball?
Yeah, but it's not ALL. It's AUGH. But everybody asks. So.
Okay.
What's yours?
North Chelmsford, Mass. It's like 40 minutes to Boston.
Gotcha. North what again?
North Chelmsford.
Chelmsford. Wow.
Yeah.
What a name.
Yeah.
All right, we all know that Buffalo summers are hard to beat with the temperatures you get for a few months. So if you're watching the sunset over Lake Erie this summer with a drink in your hand, would it be Blue Light, or Blue Light Seltzer?
What are you laughing about, Duffer? I'd have a Blue Light, probably.
I had you for a seltzer.
I go Blue Light. Keep the calories down, you know.
Seltzer. I'd have a Blue Light.
I've heard the seltzers are pretty dang good, though.
That's what I was thinking, and Jack's usually on the front end of the trend, so I was trying to prop you up, man.
No, I keep my beer pretty simple. Blue Light will do.
Well, the correct answer was all of the above, and we're lucky to be living in obviously a place that allows us to enjoy such great things. Guys, this was phenomenal. Thank you so much for the time here today. I hope it was fun and rewarding for you guys, because I think the fans love to see what goes into being leaders like you.
So thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
On behalf of our entire crew, thank you for watching. A big shout out to our sponsor, Labatt Blue Light, and we will continue, Maddie and I, to gear up for another Captain's Circle presented by Labatt Blue Light.